Hi, I'm Kelly with citruscycles.ca. This is the Bosch Monster ES electric fat bike, and I'm really excited to show you some of the features on this bike. Before I do that, let me just talk a little bit about fat bikes in general. The fat bikes have become increasingly popular. There's a lot of interest in them. Everywhere I go, people are asking me about a fat bike and its advantages and disadvantages. And it's kind of interesting because a lot of people have some misconceptions about fat bikes. So let me talk about the disadvantages first. What are the big problems with a fat bike? Why would you not want a fat bike? Well, the only thing I can think of is the increased rolling resistance. With the size of those tires, on a regular fat bike, you're definitely going to have to work harder to go wherever it is that you want to go. But because this is an electric fat bike with the Bosch CX performance and a 400 watt-hour battery, you don't have that problem. The motor's there to help you out, so you don't need to worry about the rolling resistance. The only other disadvantage I can think of is that the tubes are more expensive than a regular tube. Otherwise, everything else is advantage. So if you think about why fat bikes were originally designed, it was designed to go in snow. They found that the wide tires and low tire pressure helped them to float over snow where otherwise you might not be able to go. Turns out that combination works really well on sand as well, and loose gravel, or in fact anywhere that you need extra traction or stability. And that's what a fat bike gives you. Those wide tires, although they look like it'd be difficult to ride, it's actually the opposite. So for people that are just starting out on biking, or they want to head out on some trails, basically anybody that needs traction and stability, fat bikes are the solution. So I'm really excited about this particular bike. You know, and I get a lot of people saying, wow, that must be difficult to ride. I don't find that at all. I imagine some fat bikes aren't agile. Some are probably difficult to ride. The Monster ES here from Bosch, it's fun, a lot of fun, very agile. I was out on some trails this morning doing jumps with it, and you look at a bike like that and you think, what? But it's really easy, it's really responsive, it's a great fun bike to ride. So who would benefit from a fat bike? Well, basically anyone. It's like the SUV of bikes. If you commute and you're an all-season rider like I am, you ride all year, maybe where you live there's snow, this is ideal for snow. You can even put some studs on the tires for ice. If you ride all season and there's a lot of rain, here in the winter we get a lot of rain and the roads get really slippery, this is the bike I use when it's raining because I get all of that traction, a lot of control. I'm not worried about slipping out. I'm not worried about riding in traffic and running into problems and sliding under a car through an intersection. I know I'm going to get the stability and traction that I need. If I'm picking up groceries, if I'm hauling stuff, I can put racks on this bike and I can haul a lot of gear. So that's really nice as well. If you're doing trail riding and you're on trails that are like around here on Vancouver Island, we've got a lot of loose gravel on the trails. This handles that really well. I don't have to worry about losing traction, slipping on the way up hills. When I was out this morning on some the trails that I usually ride on, I just couldn't believe how much easier it was to climb them. Part of that's due to the Bosch CX mid-drive there, and part of it is due to the increased traction provided by the tires. So let me talk about this bike now that I've kind of explained my theories on fat bikes, and feel free to email or call if you have questions or comments about that. We'll start up here at the top. As I mentioned, this has the Bosch mid-drive. The Bosch is one of my favorite drive systems for e-bikes. Well established in Europe, very popular there, becoming increasingly popular here in North America, and with good reason. They're reliable, they're smooth, they're very responsive, quite powerful, and you know, I love the Intuvia display system here, really easy to work with. You've got the display here, which is removable, by the way. You can just push down here and pop that off, and you can take that with you if you're leaving your bike outside. You don't want somebody to steal it. There also is a screw in here, so you can actually take this off, and it comes with a set screw that you can use to screw that on, so then it would be difficult to remove that without tools. But I like bringing mine with me rather than leaving it on the bike. So with the Intuvia display here, we've got the battery level at the top, the current speed, and right now the clock is displayed. You can see the current level of assistance, which is off right now. If I press the plus button over here, then you can see that moves up to Eco, Tour, Sport, and Turbo. And to the right of the assistance level is a little meter that shows you how much the motor is actually assisting you. And that is based on how hard you're pedaling. So the motor down here actually measures the torque. That is how much pressure, how hard you're pedaling, not just how fast, but how hard, that's the torque. It also measures your cadence, so how fast the pedals are moving, and it also measures the speed of the bike, and it calculates those things about 1,000 times per second, I believe, and uses that to determine the amount of power that it should be giving you, and it shows you that amount of power on the display. I love having the responsivity that the Bosch system has with all those calculations, because really it just feels like you're riding a bike. A lot of people are concerned with e-bikes that they're going to have power when they don't want it, and that is important, that you know, if you're going on a trail and you're going up a hill and around a corner and you need the power to get up the hill but not too much on the corner, this is the bike for you, because it is very responsive and it is going to calculate exactly how much power you need based on the power that you're putting on the pedals and give you what you need. So you really don't have to worry about that. It never feels unnatural. So back up to the display here, if we cycle through the I button here, you can see the maximum speed. So my maximum speed on the way here to do this video down a hill was 63.3 kilometers per hour. And people say to me, oh, fat bikes must be slow. Well, it's fast, really fast, especially when you're going on trails. The extra weight and the extra traction gives you the confidence to boost that speed up a little bit. Now, of course, you don't need to go that fast, and by law in Canada, the motor does stop assisting you at 32 kilometers an hour. So once you're going 32, the motor's going to cut out, and you're continue as fast as you want after that, but there won't be any assistance from the motor. It'll also tell you the average speed, the total trip time, the range, which is the distance that it calculates you can go based on the current level of assist, based on the last 1.5 miles of riding. So if I go down to Eco here, you can see I've got about 115 kilometers left, and on Tour, which is probably what most people ride on, I've got about 58 kilometers. So it's really helpful having this range calculator. A lot of other e-bikes on the market don't have that. All they have is a battery meter, and often those battery meters are very unreliable. If you test ride an e-bike, try going up a hill and keep your eye on that battery meter and see what happens. You may be surprised to find that it drops to half or even a quarter as you go up the hill and regains to full at the top. It's not going to happen with the Bosch system. It actually knows how much capacity is in the battery, so you have confidence that you can actually go that distance before you have to worry about charging your battery. And speaking of charging the battery, just down here there's a duplicate meter here that shows you the level. So if your battery's off the bike, because you can take the key, unlock the key here, unlock the battery and bring it into the house to charge it if you wish. There's a charging port on the bottom. Or if you want to charge it on the bike, there's a little flap here you open up. It seals quite nicely to keep water out, and you can charge it on the bike and check the levels right here. Heading back up to the top here, go through the rest of the bike components. Not only did they use, a really great drive system on this particular bike, but they've also used high quality bike components. And so we've got things like the Shimano hydraulic disc brakes. This is the BLM615, I believe. We've got the remote lockout for the RockShox, and I love this style of lock here. It makes it really easy to hit, but where it's located, you're not going to accidentally hit it, which is a nice feature. Even the shifters here, there's a little bit of texture on there, which I love. It just makes it a joy to ride. Some nice Bulls locking grips on here as well. And there is on the Dior XT display here, there is a visual indicator for your gears. And this is the Shimano Dior XT group set. We've got 11 rings on the cassette here, and take a look at that tall climbing ring there. It's pretty impressive. That's a nice feature to have. And that is one of the nice things I like about Bulls as a company, that this year's bikes came with all of the latest innovations. So a lot of the other e-bikes on the market right now just have the 10 speed. This has that extra 11 gear there for climbing. A lot of the other bikes only had the Bosch performance line. This is actually the CX, and as you can see, with the CX, the manufacturer can actually put their own bash guard on. So in the case of Bulls here, they put this nice aluminum color-coded bash guard on the bottom here. I don't know if I can get the camera under there, but there actually is drainage holes in there, so you don't have to worry about stuff getting stuck in there. So with the CX, not only did they change the design of the motor, so you can see now most of it is exposed powder-coated metal rather than the plastic cover that was on before. We've got a little bit of plastic up here, but that really opened it up for allowing manufacturers to put this kind of bash guard on there. The CX over the performance line also increases the torque. It's something that you read about on paper and you go, oh, okay, you know, that's nice, higher torque. Also up here on your Sport and Turbo, the amount of assist that the bike is providing is increased on those two levels on the CX performance drive, whereas the regular performance drive, the Tour and the Eco are actually the same as on the CX. So the only change they made was on Sport and Turbo. So you read about that on paper, and you read about the change to the lowering the cadence required to activate the motor. So in other words, if you're starting on a hill, it's going to cut in right away instead of there being a little bit of a delay, and you think, oh, that's nice. But then you ride it. Like when I first rode this bike, I couldn't believe the power for climbing hills. You notice a little bit on flats, you get up to speed quicker, but once you start climbing hills and you start flying up the hills, like, it's a lot of fun. Bosch has a video called Uphill Flow, and it just highlights how much fun it is to fly up those hills. So I really like the fact that Bulls is going with the CX on all of their mountain bikes, which is a really nice feature. Now, I did put my own chainstay protector on here. I didn't need to do that because Bulls actually includes a really nice kind of rubberized one on here to protect your chainstay. And they also have down here a metal bash guard, which I like to see. Some of the other e-bikes we're seeing have the plastic bash guard that's really not going to be very effective, so that helps protect your chain and your sprocket there. Now, these aren't the pedals that came with the bike. I switched those out right away. I wasn't particularly keen. They were okay Welgo platform pedals, but I upgraded to these Welgos instead with the removable pins, which I like to use. You can see we've got some bosses here for rack, so we could actually put a rack on the rear there, and I'm going to try a couple of racks and do a video on that so you get an idea of what racks will fit on the bike. Over here at the front, I think I mentioned, we've got the RockShox. This is the Bluto, and we've got 100 millimeters of travel. This is a fantastic shock for a fat bike. Now, a lot of times people will say, do I really need a shock on a fat bike? You know, if I get the tire pressure down low enough, it should absorb a lot of those bumps. And that's certainly true, but the shock is going to help you out a lot more. You're going to have a lot less deflection, a lot more control. So I definitely recommend that if you're doing trail riding. Now, if you're just riding around the city and you just want the extra traction from a fat bike, you wouldn't need it. But it sure makes for a really smooth, comfortable, enjoyable ride. Gives you a lot more confidence if you're going over potholes or curbs or that sort of thing. Tires, we've got the Jumbo Jims from Schwalbe, and they went with the Evo, and they are tubeless easy, and they have this snake skin puncture resistant. So that's pretty cool. The other nice thing I noticed is that the Presta valves here do have a removable core. So first thing I did is take that core out and put some stands in the tubes until I get a chance to go tubeless. But for now, with the tubes, I put some stands in there, and then I don't have to worry about flat tires. So that's a nice feature as well. We've got 180 millimeter rotors up front and on rear, which is nice. And again, the Shimano hydraulic brake system, which is really reliable. I have, you know, especially with these wide tires, you get so much stopping power because you're not really going to lose traction while you're trying to stop. I should call out, I forgot to mention this, the seat. The saddle. This is actually, it's custom made for Bulls. It's a, I'm just going to see here, yeah, it's a Selle Royale saddle. There we go. And it's really nice. This is really nice material. Now, of course, a saddle is such a personal thing. And we always tell people, you know, think about replacing the saddle with something that you really love, that really feels comfortable for you, and same with the pedals and sometimes the grips as well, because those are your contact points with the bike. But you know what? I love this saddle. It's really, just this material is so smooth and soft, but at the same time, I'm firmly on the seat when I need to be. I'm not going to be sliding around on it. So I've really enjoyed that about the bike. Altogether, Bulls did a great job in choosing what materials, what components to use on building the bike. They've made it very agile. One of the challenges with fat bikes, again, is getting the frame geometry right, making sure that your chainstays are the right length and everything, and that everything works together. And certainly this bike works together really well. A lot of fun to ride, great on trails, but great on the road, great as a commuter bike. Great if you've got a trailer bike like I do for bringing kids to and from school or things like that. I've got a trailer for hauling cargo. This is an awesome bike for that. If you're going trail riding, it's a lot of fun, gives you a lot of traction. Nice thing about this bike is you can ride all year, so if the trails you normally ride are pretty muddy, you don't have to worry about it. You might want to throw some fenders on, but otherwise you're good to go. So if you have questions about this bike, the Bulls Monster ES, or any other pedal assist electric bike, we'd be happy to answer the questions for you. You can head over to citruscycles.ca. You'll find our phone number there, a contact form to email us, and we'd love to hear from you.